Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another Sunday video. In this one, my friends, we're gonna be revisiting a monster GPU, the GeForce RTX 4090. And well, it's been 2 years and 4 months since the RTX 4090 hit the shelves, and during all of this time, we've had many very intensive titles releasing, right? So it's time to test it out again with all of the ray tracings and all of the technologies available today in the most popular games. But first, let's go over the GPU specs. And the 4090 over here is based on the Ada Lovelace architecture. It features 16,384 CUDA cores, which is still a heck of a lot even compared with the upcoming 50 series GPUs. It also has 512 TMUs, 176 ROPs, 24 gigabytes of GDDR6X memory running on a 384-bit memory bus, and that's a very sweet amount of VRAM. And it released for $1,600 MSRP, although some models, like the Asus ROG Strix version right here, actually went up to like $2,000, $2,200. Yeah, this is a very expensive GPU, and even today on the used market, it sells for around the same as MSRP, which is kind of crazy, especially since 50 series is around the corner. But enough intro, let's see what the RTX 4090, it's a very big boy, can do in early 2025. Shall we? And first up, we got the gorgeous Horizon Forbidden West. We're playing this one at 4K resolution, utilizing DLAA, no upscaling, no frame generation at the moment, using the maximum settings in the game. I manually set everything to the maximum, aside from motion blurs and vignettes and stuff like that. Let's start counting our FPS. We're getting 80 frames per second, 4K native resolution. This is actually really good, especially because this is the Burning Shores DLC, and it's way more intensive than the base game. So to be seeing these beautiful graphics with these awesome smooth frame rates, yeah, it's actually pretty amazing, guys. Okay, it puts UE5 games to shame. Okay, let's drop down here, still getting up into the 90s actually sometimes. The frame time graph is a little bit thicker than usual, but it doesn't have any stuttering issues, and it's like micro stuttering is not noticeable at all. So it's a really smooth experience. Not super high refresh rate, of course, that's where DLSS comes in, okay? But yeah, it's definitely very stable. Yeah, look at all of those colors. The water looks amazing here at native res as well. It's a flawless experience here, and in the base game, it's always going to be better than here. Now, if you want a higher refresh rate experience, you can keep DLAA here and still run it at native resolution and enable frame generation on top of it, and here we can see it go up to 130s, 120s, and it's still native resolution, guys, so you're not really missing out on much in terms of graphics fidelity. It might be a very tad bit softer, you know, with FG enabled, but if you are looking for a high refresh rate experience in Horizon Forbidden West, this is probably the way to do it. Frame gen also doesn't introduce a lot of input lag in this game, guys. It feels really nice. There's a little bit more frame time issues there, you know, a few more frame time spikes, so maybe you want to cap your FPS to like 120 or something like that, but aside from that, it's going to be that high refresh rate experience. So 4090 still a very beastly GPU, as we can see here. Let's move on to another one. Next is Black Myth Wukong at 4K resolution, utilizing DLSS at 100%, so it's DLAA, and no ray tracing, but the cinematic settings, okay? Max settings without RT at native 4K, and look at this, guys. It is in the 50s. This completely wrecked every card in the market if you want to play it at 4K native or cinematic settings, you know, and it shows right here. We just played Horizon Forbidden West, amazing looking title, maybe not as realistic as this one in terms of its looks and lighting and so on, but it's a beautiful one, full of detail. And this, just because it's UE5, it's so much more intensive, and it makes us drop into the 40s sometimes. Kind of crazy, guys. Now, you could try, for example, running this on very high settings settings instead of cinematic to achieve a little bit higher FPS, but it still would drop from 60. Okay, I tried it. So what I'm gonna do instead to keep all of those visuals set to the maximum is set the DLSS to 67%, which is quality DLSS. So I'm just gonna apply that, still not using frame gen, and let's check it out now. Instead of getting 50s and low 50s around here, we're now up into the 70s. This looks pretty much like native resolution as well, and I'm glad they now allow you to adjust the sharpening effect in this game. That's very welcomed, you know, because it was super over sharpened previously. Now I have it set to 2 or 3 actually, and it looks really, really good at 4K. And yeah, aside from the stutters that you get, traversal stutters in UE5 games, which is what we're seeing here, dropping our 1% lows, it is actually a pretty smooth experience in terms of average FPS. It won't really drop from 60 frames per second anymore, which feels really good, okay? I'd recommend you to lock the frame rate though if you want a little bit more stable of an experience without as much stuttering, but again, this is due to the engine of the game itself. Not much we can do about that. Now, if you want a higher refresh rate experience, there's frame generation in this game as well, so I'm gonna keep the DLSS set to quality plus FG now, and we're up into the 100s. This is still without any ray tracing and stuff like that. Actually, I've tested this game with many resolutions and settings and different DLSS presets and so on in a separate video. Same thing for other games that I will try in this game. So if you're interested, check out the playlist. God, I'm stuck here. Why? No. Okay, I'm fine. No, I need to heal myself. Stop it! I'm 1 HP! This game is brutal. Anyway, we're back here, guys, getting those sweet 100 frames per second. It feels really good. Input lag-wise, it also doesn't feel bad at all. If it was a first-person shooter, I'd rather disable frame gen because of the input lag, but this is third-person game, you know, single player, so it doesn't bother me at all, even with mouse and keyboard. Now, let's tackle the elephant in the room. Full ray tracing in this game, and I'm gonna set it to very high, because, you know, we got a 4090, and I'm gonna keep the DLSS quality and frame gen enabled. If you're interested in native resolution results, again, check the playlist. There's a video there in Black Myth Wukong. And after a restart of the game, we're back here. 4K DLSS quality, frame gen on, cinematic settings, full ray tracing on, so maxed settings basically with DLSS, and we're getting around 60s and 70s. But the problem is the input lag now is pretty noticeable, unfortunately. If you get closer and closer to 60 FPS on average, you'll get a lot higher input lag, unfortunately. And right now, I wouldn't really consider this a great experience with mouse and keyboard. With a controller, it would still be fine because you can't notice the input lag as much, but here, yeah, it's a little bit too much for my taste, and it would actually hurt your performance, not your computer's performance, but your actual performance. Gosh damn it. Okay, when fighting and your reactions and so on, you know. Oh my god, come on, drink the potion. There we go. Still pretty impressive that it can do this with full ray tracing on, but it also is a little bit more pixelated, slightly more stuttery as well with RT on, and I think I would just disable RT in this game, honestly. It does fix the shadow LOD issue in this game, which is pretty bad, but you know, at the cost of huge performance, I'm not sure if it's worth it. Next up is Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the latest installment, and we're playing it. I'll go over the settings just a little bit, okay? But it's 4K extreme settings. Wait a second, can I get a kill, please? Thank you very much. All right, there we go. Okay, 4K resolution, native with NIS set to native as well, just to sharpen the image, because this is a pretty soft game. And this is the extreme settings preset. The only thing I disabled was depth of field, and it is a really awesome experience, of course, because this game is not really that terribly optimized like some other titles, and I guess also because this is the same game every year almost. All right, destroyed the care package. Oh, that's perfect. Good stuff. You know, you miss all of the shots that you don't take, so you better take those shots, even if you don't think it's gonna amount to anything. So, yeah, there we go. Come on. Another one down. Good stuff. It is high refresh rate experience, of course. This is the hard point right here. Okay, got him. There's another one there. Okay, got that one as well. And I mean, of course, these might not be super duper fast competitive frame rates, but it is absolutely amazing of an experience still. Okay, it's very, very fast, and if you want competitive FPS like 200 plus FPS or something like that, you can still get those if you play at lower settings, like minimum settings or competitive settings, for example. So no need for upscalers, no need for frame generations or anything like that. But yeah, if you want to play at native 4K resolution maxed out, it's gonna look really crispy and very beautiful in terms of like the colors and so on. It really pops in this game, and I like that. And it's going to be a buttery smooth experience still. What the hell? Those were bugged, I think. Now it's Cyberpunk 2077 with the Phantom Liberty DLC update 2.2, and we're playing at 4K utilizing the ultra settings. No ray tracing at the moment. These are turned off, and motion blur as well, because I don't like those effects. And let's do this. And well, look at how gorgeous Cyberpunk still looks to this day. Obviously, it has had a ton of updates over the years, and it has fixed a lot of stuff as well, but it's still an absolutely amazing looking title. If you compare this to like a UE5 title, I think this looks better, actually. Now, this is extremely intensive over here. As you can see, it's dropping into the 50s. So, it's beautiful, but it is very, very demanding indeed. But you also need to keep in mind that I am playing this in the most intensive area of the entire game. And this roundabout right here is actually the most intensive little place in the entire game. So, goodbye, Bob! But anyway, if you are looking for that native resolution experience with the RTX 4090, I'm so sorry, sir. Oh god, why would you do this? Oh boy. Well, you can have it here, okay? The base game will also run a little bit better than this in Dogtown area. Overall, it's a very enjoyable experience, I feel, here in Cyberpunk. However, I would probably utilize some DLSS set to like quality here at 4K resolution. And here with DLSS quality, what are you guys doing here? Okay, you can see it's getting 80s, 70s sometimes, dropping into the 70s here in this roundabout. Once again, I'm not gonna kill Bob this time around. I think he's dead still, right? He should be, at least. Although he's a demon and he's always resurrecting. Let's see. Yeah, there he is. Bastard. Anyway, guys, 80 FPS is much better than 60 FPS for that stability. You know, this way you know that it won't drop from 60 FPS ever while you're playing the game. And since the implementation of DLSS in Cyberpunk is so good, this DLSS quality basically looks like native resolution, and you can adjust the sharpening to your liking as well. It's a really nice experience with DLSS in this game, and it looks gorgeous. There's no need to utilize ray tracing if you don't want to wreck your FPS or resolution. But you know what? Speaking of ray tracing, we should try it out next. So I'm gonna go ahead and try Ray Tracing Ultra preset. This sets DLSS to auto, which is performance at 4K, but I'm gonna keep it on quality. Again, if you are interested in seeing like performance balanced and so on, over here I have a separate video in Cyberpunk. I'm just covering what I would actually play on in this video. And well, there's Ray Tracing Ultra preset. I'm gonna disable these again. Everything else is still the same. Gotta restart the game to make sure that everything applies properly. Alright guys, here we have it. I also enabled ray reconstruction because it makes these reflections look a lot better. There's absolutely no smearing at all on them. Really nice looking. The shadows also became a bit darker in this scene, at least. Look at this. Looking really gorgeous now with the ray tracing enabled, and we're getting 60 still. It might drop from 60 FPS. Let's see it in the roundabout area, guys. Okay, so far so good. This is actually really good. It's not dropping from 60. And if it doesn't drop from 60 here, it won't drop from 60 anywhere else in the entire game. So, you know what? I think this might be the way to play this game with the RTX 4090. Just enable ray tracing because you can. Quality DLSS still makes it look amazing. Ray reconstruction fixes the shimmery reflections and soft, noisy reflections that you'd see without it. And it's just an absolutely gorgeous game. I would lock it to 60 probably to fix the frame time issues that we're seeing. I mean, it's not like a flat frame time graph, and it's not like you can notice stuttering happening, honestly, most of the time. Honestly, I don't remember this running so well with these settings. Like, ray tracing is super demanding, and this is ray tracing ultra, okay? Not path tracing. Path tracing is complete GPU destroyer, that's one. I'll try it. So let's go with ray tracing overdrive. I'll keep DLSS set to auto, which is performance here at 4K resolution. Ray reconstruction is still enabled. There's path tracing, okay, extremely intensive. Just gonna disable these once again, and that's it. I'm gonna restart, and here we go, guys. Going over the settings again. We're still not utilizing FG, okay, and this is it. Path tracing or ray tracing overdrive, still above 60 FPS. Obviously, this is upscaling from 1080p resolution with DLSS performance, which is the auto setting there, but this is quite nice still. It gets 60-ish frames. It's very similar to ray tracing ultra with quality DLSS actually at 4K, right? 60-ish. You can run path tracing. It still looks really good like this. Obviously, you can start telling that the game is being upscaled. It's not like quality DLSS where it looks like native resolution. This has a bit of a oil painting look to it. Just slight, okay? But let me enable frame gen, guys. I'm really curious to see this. We need to restart the game now to apply this, which is weird because we didn't need to do that before. And look at that now, guys. We're up into the 100s. FG, unfortunately, makes these papers flying a complete artifacting mess, basically. But it does deliver a more smooth experience. It also fixes the frame time graph somewhat. You know, it was a little bit thicker previously with more micro stutters, and now it's a bit more stable, I guess. But well, guys, enough Cyberpunk. Goodbye, Bob. We spent a lot of time here in this one, but it's always the most asked for game for me to test, you know? So here we go, a little bit more time spent in Cyberpunk. Let's move on to the next one. Time for God of War Ragnarok at 4K resolution using the LEA and the Ultra settings preset, and this is just a gorgeous experience, my friends. These games from Sony ported to the PC are always very smooth and very well optimized, although you can see the frame time graph isn't really great. I tried disabling the power utilization on the GPU to see if that would fix it, because the X3D CPUs sometimes have a little bit of trouble with that setting in MSI Afterburner, but it didn't fix anything. It still got these 1% lows that we're seeing here. The good thing is, it doesn't really matter too much because it still feels really awesome and smooth. And if you enable frame generation on top of this, those little frame time issues will be completely gone. Look at the power utilization as well, going up to 400 watts. It's starting to hit up my room a little bit, not gonna lie, after all of these tests here. But yeah, in God of War Ragnarok, you can just max everything out, play at native resolution, get 100 plus FPS still. It's amazing, okay? It's a really good game. Also around here, things tend to drop a little bit sometimes. It's only dropping into the lower 100s. Maybe 90s, yep, there we go, low 90s at times. Still completely under control, and it's a great experience for a single-player game, of course. Let's stop it right there, and let me enable some DLSS frame generation now. This makes the game look pretty similar to what we just saw, but it improves our FPS like crazy, as you can see. And as I told you, the little frame time issues that we were seeing, those spikes, you know, they are completely gone. So now our 1% lows are close to the averages, and this is how I'd end up playing this game. Not only do you get a higher refresh rate experience, a smoother one as well, and the power utilization also goes down slightly. So yeah, that's it for God of War Ragnarok. This is just a flawless and amazing experience here at 4K resolution with this GPU. To be expected, once again. I mean, I keep saying it's an amazing experience and so on, it's incredible, but this is a super expensive GPU. The 50 series aren't out yet, when I'm posting this video at least. They have been announced though, but you know, this is still a super expensive card to buy, even after those have been announced, I bet. So, it's no wonder it runs these optimized titles so damn well. Moving on to another UE5 title, this is S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 at 4K. 4K using epic settings, DLEA, no frame gen, so it's native 4K, and this game is a complete mess when it comes to performance, yet the 4090 can still handle it at 50 plus FPS. Unfortunately, it's starting to drop into the 50s, as you can see. Now, there is also a major CPU bottlenecking issue in this title, which is not present at the moment. We're using 4K max settings, so GPU usage is always maxed out, you know. But if you start lowering down settings to like high or medium, for example, or using DLSS quality, which I would do instead of lowering down the settings, you will actually encounter that CPU bottleneck, which is a shame in a single-player game. You know, at least out here while exploring, you can actually get 60 to 70 frames per second pretty much at all times, and it will only get CPU bound in that settlement area where we started, so no problems there. You could also lock your FPS to 60 to achieve a little bit flatter of a frame time graph, and it would overall be a pretty decent experience, although this still lacks a lot of optimization. You know, I'd love to see the developers tackle that issue. Let's do DLSS quality next at 4K resolution, and this bumps it up from 60-ish frames per second to 80s and even 90s at times, I guess, and it's looking very similar to native resolution as well. I am using a 42-inch monitor for this, by the way, so if I can't tell a major difference in this size of a monitor, something like 32 inches or 27 inches at 4K won't be noticeable at all that you're utilizing upscaling. So that's nice, okay? And there we go, we're approaching the settlement area. GPU utilization is starting to drop now, as you can see, so we're CPU bound at the moment. It's much better than when the game released, where it would drop into the 40s with 7800X 3D, okay? But yeah, it still drops like crazy, and just walking around here as well, you can see GPU usage is much lower. So the perfect way to play this game with the 4090 would be with frame generation enabled plus DLSS quality. I'm gonna apply that, and we have 120 FPS now. Way better, or 1-teens. Also, this game is pretty terrible when it comes to the input lag, so you need 110 FPS plus all of the time, and thankfully we can actually get that, and especially if you are out in the open fields, exploring and taking on enemies and so on, you can actually get a high refresh rate experience, and the input lag won't matter too much. So I think it's a pretty awesome experience actually, although a bit stuttery one because of UE5. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of with games made in this engine, unfortunately. Remember Starfield, my friends? This game, when it came out, or Starfield, okay? We're playing at 4K using ultra settings, by the way, with DLEA. Yeah, this was the worst optimized game that we had ever seen when it came out, guys. Now, it has come a long way in terms of its performance. It's running better now than it did back on release. But you might look at Starfield now and think that this is actually a pretty well-optimized title now. It's running very smoothly in terms of that frame time graph, you know, like there's no spike whatsoever anywhere, and it's also running with decently high FPS. Now, the game graphics aren't anything special. Some textures are really high quality though, but it doesn't really look like a very modern title. But at least it's not the stutterfest and a completely unoptimized title that the UE5 games are of these days. I mean, Bethesda did not make a good job with optimization in this game, but when compared to recent games, it looks like an optimized title. Next is Marvel Rivals, UE5 title, very intensive at 4K resolution using DLSS native and the ultra settings with Lumen enabled. And well guys, this is the performance in Marvel Rivals. If you want to max it out at 4K resolution, you actually need an RTX 4090 to achieve 60 plus FPS all of the time, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion because of how the game looks. You know, it kind of looks like Overwatch in some ways. It plays like Overwatch much as well, and it is like 10 times more intensive than Overwatch. Maybe not 10 times, like 5 times more intensive. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but at least they have made an update now that improves frame rates. Okay, I am already with that update in place. Come on, there we go. It stutters quite a bit as well because of UE5 once again. But yeah, this game should definitely perform better than it does, even on maximum settings, if the maximum settings look like this, right? It's kind of getting the same performance or just slightly better than S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, for example. Anyway, I also tried it on low settings and I was getting like 120 FPS. Yeah, low settings, 4K with 4090, 120 FPS just doesn't sound right whatsoever. But now we have the option of disabling some stuff here, as well as setting the model detail to performance. And if you want the highest FPS possible, I guess, well, this is it, at native 4K still. Alright guys, this is definitely running a bit better than before with these new performance settings, okay? Let's go over here, kill these bastards, 170s. Remember, previously I was getting right around 120 frames per second, on average 130 sometimes, and now it's actually in the 160s, 170s, sometimes it reaches 200 frames per second, so much better experience, much smoother one as well, and that's much better for an RTX 4090 as well. You know, it's still low settings, and I feel like we should have had these FPS with the maximum settings, maybe without the ray tracing stuff, or Lumen actually. But yeah, this is an improvement, and I like that the developers have actually done something to optimize the game and make it run a little bit better, okay? Obviously, we also have the DLSS if you want even higher performance, so I'm just gonna set it to like quality, for example, and it gets up into the 200s all of the time, as you can see. And by the way, previously we would get around 100 frames per second or 90 frames per second at ultra settings with quality DLSS. I have tested it as well. But yeah, this doesn't really seem to be dropping from 200, so much more stable. And you can also enable DLSS frame generation if you want that on top of DLSS quality, although in a multiplayer shooter game and competitive game, I wouldn't really enable frame gen because, well, it seems like it's not even working, honestly. But it adds a bit of input lag on top of things, so it's not good, okay? But yeah, I'm not sure if they broke FG because it's definitely getting the same FPS as before. But anyway, let's move on. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is next at 4K resolution using supreme settings, no upscaling, no ray trace or path tracing. Actually, the game utilizes ray tracing by default. I'm also utilizing the command R LOD scale 5 to increase the view distance of objects and the shadow, and this makes the game not have the horrible pop-in issues that we see very, very often in Indiana Jones. Those are fixed by utilizing path tracing, but if you don't want to kill your performance completely, just use this command and it will look really, really good without the need to use path tracing. So yeah, pretty much it's always going to be an amazing experience. It's actually dropping into the 80s sometimes, as you can see. But it's really, really smooth. No major stuttering issues in this game, which is very nice to see as well. VRAM usages are under control. Obviously, they always are. This is a 24GB GPU. Now, if you want to absolutely kill your performance, you can enable full ray tracing, which is path tracing in this game. This has everything turned on the ray tracing settings, and you will definitely need some DLSS to make it playable, maybe with some frame generation at the same time. Let's check this out. It would actually get you 30 FPS without frame gen and without DLSS performance. This way it gets you around the same FPS as we were seeing before, with a lot of added input lag, unfortunately. And, well, actually it does look better in terms of lighting, of course, in terms of shadows as well. They're kind of more realistic. But it also looked really good previously, and we were playing at native 4K, so I think I would just go without path tracing in this one. And guys, we're now playing Delta Force. This is an Unreal Engine 4 title. It runs UE5 in its single-player campaign, but, you know, this is the way to go, right? Just keep it simple with older engines if you are running multiplayer shooters, because that's the way to go. My God! Okay, we're doing this. I'm not dead yet somehow. There are snipers there. Okay, we're dead now. Okay, let's go over the settings. Yes, I totally forgot. We're playing at 4K resolution using the maximum settings, ultimate settings here. And this runs absolutely phenomenally because it is a well-optimized title. You know, it could have better 1% lows though, because sometimes there's the odd little spike here and there in that frame time graph, and I did disable the power utilization on the GPU to see if it was because of the X3D CPU, but no, it wasn't. Come on. Why am I shooting them with a pistol? Fire looks great as well. It still looks really good, even though it's on an older engine. It's all about the lighting and the art style and everything. Look at this. Doesn't it look great, guys? I mean, more games should focus on optimization and more games should focus in older engines, in my opinion. It's also really sharp, visually speaking. I have the sharpness set to 50% as well, but, you know, it's not a blurry mess like some newer titles are. Oh, boy. Oh, there are many explosions. What the heck is going on? This is so sick, actually. I don't even know where those missiles are coming from, but this is sick. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What the heck? Many of them here. Okay. All good. We're fine. We're fine. Explosions. Oh, yes. Beautiful stuff. Reload. Thank you very much, buddy. Need help? I'm actually gonna go from behind them. Nope, I'm not. They're trying to conquer this objective here, the bunker area. I'm gonna go over the bunker area, actually. Oh, so many. So many. Nope, nope, no, no, nope. Okay, get in, get in, get in. Little stutter there. All right. No problem, though. Oh, come on, come on, come on. This is a UE4 title, by the way. The longer you play, the smoother it gets, okay, in terms of stability. But look at these graphics, guys. Imagine if Stalker 2 stuck with UE4 instead of moving to UE5. We could have had really good graphics still and great performance instead of the terrible blurriness and noisy mess that game is with Lumen and Nanite. And also with the performance that's terrible. Back to a UE5 title, Silent Hill 2 at 4K, utilizing quality DLSS. Ray tracing is on as well, and we're using epic settings over here. So basically the game is maxed out now, and without DLSS on quality, we would be getting around 50 frames per second, so it's a bit rough, you know. But here on quality DLSS, it actually still looks really, really good, close to native resolution, with a tad bit more ghosting, I guess. But it gets us way higher FPS, as you can see, 70s and 80s. There's always a bit of stuttering in this game because it's traversal stuttering from UE5. But anyway, aside from that, it's actually a pretty smooth experience, as you can see, like 60 plus 100% of the time. 1% lows are also all right. And it looks really, really good, this game, actually. And as you can see, here in the woods area, it's still getting a 70 plus. It's actually a bit less intensive than where we started. Looking back in this direction usually drops it. And yeah, 69 FPS, very nice. But of course, this is the initial part of the game here in the woods area. And although it's intensive compared to the city, for example, it's not as intensive as the woodside apartments that I'm going to right now. And this is where things get completely wrecked in this game. Look at the amount of stuttering, look at the frame rate dropping from 60 FPS. It is a shame. You actually need to utilize like frame generation or maybe balanced DLSS or performance DLSS if you want 60 plus. The good thing is this is worst case scenario, and basically everywhere else you go, you will get those 60 plus FPS. But it's a shame, guys. You're spending a lot of money on a GPU. It's a beast of a card in other titles, but these UE5 games just bring it to its knees. Next is Ghost of Tsushima. We're playing this one at 4K resolution using DLEA, no frame generations or anything like that, and we're utilizing the maximum settings. And well, guys, this game is really pretty and it runs very well. It's buttery smooth, first of all. The FPS are not too high, but remember, we're using maximum settings here. I manually set every single setting to its maximum, and this is the end result. It's still a very smooth experience, not super high refresh rate, but if you play it, for example, with very high settings instead, you will get a performance bump. And of course, you still have frame generation in this game, which I feel like it it works really, really well here with this art style. Let's go. This is the Golden Temple area, by the way, one of the most intensive areas. Actually, I think the most intensive area in the entire game, and it's still getting us those 80-ish frames per second, low 80s, high 70s, 69 FPS, 1% lows, so it's buttery smooth, it's amazing, and I love it. But I'm gonna try enabling frame generation now, keeping the same maximum settings in the game. And well, guys, in terms of its visuals, it looks exactly the same. I don't really see a difference whatsoever. I don't see any ghosting or any softness or artifacting coming from the frame generation in this game. Everything is just working flawlessly, and it's now a super high refresh rate experience. Well, not super high, but it is 120 FPS plus pretty much at all times. Maybe in the Golden Temple it's gonna drop a little bit, but it just feels amazing now. It also smooths out our frame time graph slightly more. I'm not sure which settings I would utilize. Well, the settings I'm sure of. I would max the game out on a 4090, obviously, but I don't know if I would use FG or not, because in terms of input lag, I can't really feel any input lag either. It's amazing, guys. And you know what? I wish more games ran like this, guys. We need smooth games, okay? We need smooth frame times. Developers, stop using UE5. I'm gonna cry. And another game that is also really smooth is Helldivers 2. We're playing at 4K native resolution using the maximum settings over here, okay? And look at that. It's close to 100 frames per second. It doesn't have a single stutter in the frame time graph. It is just amazing, this one, guys. It's one of the smoothest experiences that we've had in recent times. Let's start counting our FPS as well. We just dropped, and I'm killing these bastards. Oh boy, I don't know how to kill that one, actually. Maybe we need to move away from here. I'm alone as well, by the way, but I really wanted to showcase it here. Oh my gosh, they're destroying the trees and everything because of all of the trees. You know, it's more intensive whenever you got trees going on. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, it's all good, guys. It's all good. No, it's not. It's heal yourself. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. Yes, jump. Jump dive like that. Oh my god. All right, look at this. Even the transition when you die and get back into the game with smoke effects and so on, it doesn't stutter. It doesn't lower your FPS. It's just a great experience, guys. It's one of the smoothest ones. This is what I like to see, once again. Next is Counter-Strike 2 at 4K using very high settings with no anti-aliasing. This was the only way to max out the GPU. You know, if I was playing on low settings, it would be getting a CPU bottleneck all of the time. And here we can see 99% GPU usage. All right, here we go. What are you doing, dude? Let's start counting our FPS. That's it. Do you like my new gun? What was that? This is a new animation. I have never seen that one before. Whoa, boy, these guys are good. You know what? This calls for some AWP action. Here we go, guys. Okay, let's see if I can hit those flicks. Actually, today I'm not using a wireless mouse, so maybe the wire is going to influentiate my skills. What? Influence? Yes. Whatever. Whatever. Let's go. I can still do this, okay? All right. Just concentrate, Chris. Concentrate in the game and do not concentrate so much in the commentary, and everything will be okay. Hello? No. This is cheating, okay? Stop it. Hello, this was the guy with the deagle. There we go. We got him. I still got my skills with the AWP, my friends. That's great. Sometimes I get a little bit confused and panicky, but it's all good. I just gotta chill a little bit, yeah? Let's go. Reload. And let's get them bastards. Another one. Hello there. Nope. Okay, goodbye. Oh, there's another one. Okay, got him. Good stuff. Anyone else? This one. Oh, God, you bastards. Okay, you gotta reload. Time out. I said thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, another one. Okay. All right, there we go. It's all good. Okay. It's fine, guys. Just moving up and down the tunnel. Honestly, guys, I don't know why. Every time I pick up the AWP, I feel alive here. All right, I just hit those shots. It's amazing. Oh, yes. Hello? Okay. This guy, what are you doing? Jumping backwards like that. All right, another one down. Hello. You know what? Let's go with the bonus weapon. Otherwise, I might not win this one. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Okay. Oh, they're everywhere. Oh, yeah. Hello. Okay. It's all good. We got this. Somehow, I'm still alive and kicking them bastards. Oh, gosh. No, 2 seconds. Well, at least we got 369 FPS average. Now, an extremely intensive title, Alan Wake 2 at 4K using DLAA and the, I will say, ultra settings, because I manually set every single setting to high, because if you set it to the high preset, it sets some of them to medium, but we're not utilizing max settings because ray tracing is turned off. And, well, this is 4K native on ultra, and it gets 50-ish frames per second, as you can see. This is a very intensive game, guys. One of the most demanding ones that we've seen in recent times, actually. And especially when you enable that path tracing, it just gets completely wrecked. Fortunately, though, the LSS in this game looks really nice, so you can play like that absolutely fine. And I'm actually going to utilize it right now on quality with 4K res. And yeah, it looks basically the same in this game. Even FSR2 looks great in this one, actually. And it's now getting 80-ish frames per second instead of those 50s that we were seeing without added input lag because we're not utilizing frame generation. And yeah, this is definitely the way to go if you don't want to fiddle with path tracing here in this title. It can still look absolutely amazing. If you're interested in checking out a lot more settings and frame generations and stuff like that tested in this game, once again, I have a link down in the description for the 4090 playlist, and I recently tested this game there. Stutter Night is up next at 4K using DirectX 12 epic settings with Lumen enabled and hardware ray tracing. And guys, a 4090 just gets wrecked here with these settings, dude. It's absolutely insane. Oh boy, people are shooting at us. This is terrible. I'm gonna start counting our FPS. It's still Stutter Night, as you can see. It has some massive stutters happening here and there. What happened to this guy? I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't even get 60 on average, apparently. 59. Oh my god. This is ridiculous, guys. It's all because, once again, Lumen is enabled. This is UE5 as well. That's why it's stuttering, I guess. Even Epic doesn't fix the damn stuttering issues. It's crazy. They also make this engine, okay? That's why I'm saying even they can't fix it. Let's go ahead and check it out with some quality DLSS. This should put it above 60 FPS 100% of the time. Obviously, if you don't want to use Lumen and the ray tracing, hardware ray tracing stuff, and I really recommend you to not use it in a game like Fortnite, you can disable it and achieve like 200 FPS. It's night and day difference. It will improve your frame rate and the smoothness as well, like crazy, okay? So I definitely recommend you to do that. But here, well, for the testing of the 4090, I thought, well, let's just max it out and see how it does. And yeah, apparently we can actually get 60 plus now with quality DLSS. It looks basically the same as native resolution, so that's great, but it still stutters quite a bit more than it otherwise would without ray tracing enabled. So I would still not do this, okay? So how I would play this game with the 4090 would be with 4K resolution, DirectX 12 still, DLSS quality, which again looks really good in this game, and disabling nanite, which disables lumen, reflections, and global illumination, and this makes the game way less intensive. Once again, I'm gonna restart to apply everything properly, and see this, guys? We're getting close to 200 FPS. The lighting is still beautiful. The game still looks really good, but yeah, it's running way better just because we disabled that nanite and lumen stuff. So as long as games actually allow you to disable that, and I hope that more games in the future using this engine do that, the Unreal Engine 5 is not that hard to run. Look at this. This is crazy performance, right? And don't get me started on the smoothness as well. We're driving the car around. It's not stuttering anymore. 1% lows are above 100 frames per second. I think that's about it for Fortnite, which started as being Stutter Night. But here, after a couple of adjustments in the settings, it is no longer stuttering. So it's actually a really smooth experience now. Now it's Battlefield time. I got 2042 here today at 4K using ultra settings, no upscaling, no ray tracing. And let's start counting our FPS. We're getting 100 plus frames per second, smoke effects and everything not slowing down. Very good. This is quite a decent experience compared to the last generation as well. By last generation, I mean the 30 series. Okay, I remember playing this on the 3080 Ti. As well as the RX 6900 XT. Those GPUs were good for like around 70 frames per second on average, and this is quite a big jump up in performance, you know. I also remember testing the RX 6900 XT in this exact same map for its full-on review as well here in the channel. There we go, 1 kill. And it was providing a very nice experience, of course, with around 70 FPS. But, of course, I do prefer my high refresh rate. This is definitely a heck of a lot better. Very good stuff and very good performance here. Also, guys, if you are interested in checking out some older Battlefield games, I actually tested Battlefield 3 yesterday on a 4090. It was great. Very, very good. I loved it. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing here, guys. I am confused. I am lost inside of the smoke. Smoke effects everywhere. All right, there they are. One, come on, let's go. Good stuff. This is so smooth as well. There's no stuttering or no perceived stuttering here in this game. Alright, another one. Let's go. Nice, good stuff. We're pushing them bastard. We need more healing as well. That would be great. Come on, people. I just love Battlefield games. And finally, before we go to the conclusion games, I got Hogwarts Legacy at 4K using DLSS quality, which is 67% resolution scale there, and the ultra settings with maxed out ray tracing as well, and frame generation, which is on over here. Okay, I lost it. And well, we're starting here in Hogsmeade, which is a very CPU intensive area in the game, so it's actually CPU bound at the moment. I'm gonna start counting the FPS. This is UE4, by the way, and it stutters quite a bit. Magic. Some magic happened there with that lady. Anyway, yeah, those 1% lows, man. It doesn't feel good with ray tracing enabled. It gets a bit better whenever you disable ray tracing, but this is never a very smooth experience, unfortunately, in this title. They never really fixed the stuttering that comes with Hogwarts Legacy, unfortunately. And also, locking your FPS makes it stutter way less, so I highly recommend you to do that. I'm not doing that because, well, it's a benchmark video. But yeah, as you can see now that we are out of that extremely demanding area, it is getting much flatter frame times, much better experience, more stable as well. And I've actually been playing this game quite a bit lately. And yes, I did see quite a bit of stuttering, but it was nothing game-breaking in my opinion. I could actually stand it, because it doesn't happen in most of the map, as you can see here. As usual, you can always disable ray tracing to make it run better, and you can run it at native resolution as well without RT in this game. It will run absolutely fine, since it's UE4 again. And yeah, that's it for Hogwarts Legacy. It looks decent. It plays pretty okay as well. I wish it was more stable, but it is what it is. And it is conclusion time, my friends. The RTX 4090 is still an amazing GPU, and we can leave it right there, right? I mean, I gotta say that 2 years later, I thought this GPU was going to be performing better than it actually is, but that mostly is because of the laziness that we see in game development these days. Like, games aren't looking that much better than what we had 3, 4, 5 years ago, yet they are so much more intensive, and they rely so much on upscalers and frame generations and stuff like that, that it's not even funny anymore. This is an absolute monster of a GPU, yet we are already seeing it dropping from 60 FPS sometimes at 4K, complete max settings, of course, mostly because of like lumen and ray tracing, and I'm fine with those technologies, okay? I'm okay with having RT on in a title here and there, and having lower performance and needing to utilize some upscaling and stuff like that. But the main issue that I have in some of these titles is that they don't allow you to disable ray tracing. They don't allow you to disable lumen stuff. and that ends up being extremely intensive. But in terms of the performance of this GPU, is still amazing. You still got plenty of VRAM, of course. I doubt the 5070 is going to give you 4090 performance, especially not without multi-frame generation, of course. If you're expecting that GPU to perform the same as this, it won't. Alright? But hey, I don't think anyone with an RTX 4090 would complain about the experience that they're having. I'm here complaining about the games here and there, sometimes in the performance, but the fact of the matter is this graphics card can chew through everything that you throw at it. And if you aren't playing at 4K resolution, if you're, for example, on a 1440p display, even with all of the bells and whistles enabled at the lower resolutions, this is still going to be alive for a really long time. And at 4K as well, I think. So yeah, this was a massive video, but I think a massive GPU is worthy of a massive video. So here we go. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one very soon. And expect some 50 series benchmarks whenever those GPUs drop. Thanks very much for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye.